I get asked all the time, Jake, why don't you do videos and stuff on other sports? And to be completely honest, I'm not the greatest with a bunch of other sports. Football is my thing. I mean, there was that time that I said, the Cubs would never win the World Series. Whoa. Wow. Or like when I lost all that money, when the Cavs came back from a 3-1 deficit in the playoffs to beat Golden State. No. No. Son of a bitch! Or even just last year, that time that I thought the Sixers would force overtime and beat the Raptors in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, have you ever made any crappy sports predictions? If you have, throw them down below in the comment section. We would all like to laugh at you. But for right now, I'm going to stick to what I know best. And now we're going to talk some fantasy football bold predictions. What is going on, Headliner Nation? A rare occurrence. Kyle and myself doing a show together because this is meant to be a little bit fun, right? We're going to be talking about some bold predictions today. So we thought it would be a good idea to get us together, throw a couple bold predictions out that aren't impossible, but they're bold for a reason. Kyle, you ready to talk some bold predictions?
I am. I love doing content like this. Not every single episode, but it's fun to go a little bit crazy and to talk about some what if scenarios and, maybe some feelings that we have deep down that we're just keeping suppressed because we don't want to get yelled at or shamed on YouTube or Twitter.
Exactly. I mean, I would hope that you're not suppressing too many feelings. I mean, this is a very safe spot. You're in a safe... No, you're not very safe right here. No, you will get butchered here.
I'm in the arms of Headliner Nation.
No, they will drop you at certain times. At certain times, they will drop you. It all depends how right you are. But the first guy and the first prediction we're going to talk about, and I'm going to go first. Why? Because I'm the one talking right now. The first guy I'm going to talk about is Cam Newton. And a lot of people have talked about Cam Newton as of late. And what do we do with him? Well, in the past, few days, half the defense has opted out in New England. So my bold prediction is Cam Newton finishes as a top 3 quarterback in fantasy football, which sounds absolutely redonkulous after, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Bold prediction is Cam Newton is number 3. But like I said, the losses on the defensive side, they're going to have to continue to throw the ball. This defense is not going to be what it was last year. They're not going to keep scores close. It's just going to be a different New England team. And just because of that, they're going to have to continue to score points. It's not going to be your same old Patriots. They're in a division with teams that are improved. I mean, I know it's crazy to say that the Dolphins and the Bills have gotten better, but they really have. And they're going to force them to have to continue to score points. Plus, Cam Newton's pissed. I mean, right? I mean, he thinks that the entire NFL, for the most part, gave up on him. Everybody passed on him, so he's got a huge, huge chip on his shoulder. And I don't want people to forget. This guy won the MVP, went 15-1 in the regular season, took a team to the Super Bowl, and his 2 wide receivers at the time were Ted Ginn and Devin Funchess. I mean, that alone right there is enough to say, hey, this is the best weapons he has possibly had. I mean, you still have Julian Edelman, you got N'Keal Harry. We've talked about Mohamed Sanu before. The running game is going to be a little bit, I'm not a big fan of Sony Michel this year. We've talked about James White and his, possible upside that we definitely like this year, but I think Cam Newton has a resurgence here. So a bold prediction, Cam Newton finishes top 3. What do you think?
It's attainable because of the run game. I mean, they don't really have a ground and pound type running back with Sony Michel, kind of being worked along slowly at this point and not having any sort of a timeline on when he could return from his offseason surgery. And they have Rex Burkhead and Damian Harris, but it's not anything to write home about there. So still a lot of opportunity for him to get some carries on the ground, pick up some yards, and of course score near the goal line.
That's exactly right. He's going to call his own number when he gets close enough. And heck, maybe we could see James White be a version of a Christian McCaffrey-esque type usage this year in the passing game, at least. That's a different bold prediction. I'm not saying that James White is Christian McCaffrey, people. I'm not saying that. That is a little bit too spicy. Did you just get excited?
Yes.
Wow. I didn't mean for it to say that was a prediction. That was just, that was just like a side effect, okay? That was not the actual prediction. Give me one, Kyle. What's one you got?
All right, first one I'm going to do is DERRIUS GUICE is a top 15 running back. And again, bold prediction, because if he gets the volume, it could very well end up happening. But the question all along has been, can he get the volume? Well, he sounds healthy. He was the other day just cleared full go, ready for training camp. So he should be ready to roll. And he's the best running back that they have there. Yeah, they've got Adrian Peterson, but old man Peterson, starting to get a little bit on the older side. The career is closer to being done than it is to even being in the middle at this point. So he's gonna help out a little bit along the way. But if DERRIUS GUICE shows that he's healthy and he's going, he's just going to continue to build up those carries. And he's a freak athlete. I mean, last year he averaged over 5 yards after the contact per attempt. I mean, the guy was all over the place. He can break tackles. He's dynamic. The one question that keeps coming up is, what are they going to do with Antonio Gibson? Well, with everything going on, with there being not really any rookie training camp, not having training camp as a whole being a little bit different than what we've seen in years past, how long is it going to take him to get into pads? No preseason games. Antonio Gibson is still a very raw talent there. So even though he could be kind of a Swiss Army knife in the future, he's just not going to be able to step into a running back role and take a lot of touches away from GUICE to begin the season. So if GUICE can get moving, stay healthy, show that he is the best running back on that roster, then he should pull away with that job sometime in the first 5 or 6 weeks. And then the rest of the way down the line, if Dwayne Haskins can keep it up, the wide receivers are doing good, should leave him some holes to run and give him enough upside to just be outside that top 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about health with DERRIUS GUICE. It's never been a question of talent whatsoever. We love GUICE coming out of the draft. He fell into a great opportunity. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. But I think you hit it right there at the end when you said that, how does Dwayne Haskins play? How does that passing game work? Because if he can get the passing game going with Terry McLaurin there on the outside, we've talked about the name Steven Sims before. If they can start to open up that passing game, all of a sudden things get a little bit easier for DERRIUS GUICE. And yes, he is the most talented on the roster. He will have old man Adrian Peterson, who he's going to be like Frank Gore, isn't he? He's never going to go away.
Probably.
He's going to be around forever. But yeah, there's some young talent there that has an opportunity, but I think DERRIUS GUICE is going to get first crack at it. And as long as he's healthy, the opportunity is there. We just got to keep him on the field, Kyle, out of the medical tent and on the field.
Fingers crossed.
Exactly. All right, so if you thought the first one was spicy, I'm going to turn up the dial just a little bit.
Get it.
And do not shut off the video, because I get it. Remember, bold predictions. Bold. I'm going to say that A.J. Green has more receiving yards this year than DeAndre Hopkins. And nobody on God's green earth is going to agree with that, but that's okay. I get it. I mean, A.J. Green, he's somebody who's had 10-plus targets in 44% of his career games when he's played. 33 out of 111 of his career games, he's had at least 100 yards. Out of 73 out of 111 of his career games, he's scored at least 10 fantasy points. He's averaged 1 touchdown every 9.5 receptions, and he possibly is healthy for the first time in maybe forever. I mean, it's hard because a lot of people want to give up on A.J. Green, myself included. He's not somebody who is just what he used to be, right? However, where his ADP is at this year, the risk is somewhat minimal. Am I going to go out there and target A.J. Green? No, probably not. If he falls to me because a lot of people just don't want anything to do with him, sure, I'll take a stab at him as my wide receiver 3 because we know what he's capable of. He's done it before, and now with Joe Burrow there under center, as long as A.J. Green is healthy, he's still going to lead that offense in targets. He just has to stay healthy, kind of similar to DERRIUS GUICE, right? If this guy is healthy, we know what he's going to do on the football field.
Yeah, the one thing too for younger players, the really smart ones, okay, the guys that, yeah, they have all the talent in the world, but they've got it all up here as well. Guys like that always go to those players who have been leaders on the team, who have been the best, and they pick their brains and they talk about everything. So I have to imagine that Joe Burrow is going to seek out AJ Green and really try to talk to him about as much as possible and really get on the same page with him. I mean, when you've got a guy that, over the course of his career looked like a future Hall of Famer, still possibly is at this point, as long as he gets going again a little bit and his career is not shot at this point, but one of the best wide receivers in the game during his career. I mean, that's the people you want to learn from and you want to connect with. And if Burrow and Green are getting that connection, that translate out onto the field quite often. And that could end up happening this year. And Green could end up being that guy that Burrow really looks to lean on. And with as many receiving options as they have there now, with the upgraded offensive line, with Joe Mixon, AJ Green can find himself in a much better position where he's got a lot of one-on-one coverage and can get open a lot more than what maybe he used to be able to.
I love it. I love some spice, Kyle. That one's going to get people fired up a little bit. A lot of people are already upset that we don't absolutely love DeAndre Hopkins. And I mean, we've kind of talked about him before, taking a step back a little bit. Not that he's not talented. It's just he won't be force-fed the targets. So, yeah, that's a bold one for me. What's your next one?
My next bold one, we're going to be looking at a rookie, and we're going to talk about a wide receiver who I absolutely love. And we have been talking about on this channel since, I mean, even before the combine, and it's Jalen REAGOR. And my bold prediction is he's a top 15 wide receiver. Now, hear me out, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things are going to have to go extremely right for Jalen REAGOR to make it here. And again, with him being a rookie, yes, he's going to be a little bit behind the eight ball. He's going to have to get on the field soon. He's going to have to learn the playbook. And a lot of times those rookie wide receivers, they just take a little bit of time to develop, right? It doesn't always happen right away. And in a year like this, where there's going to be no preseason, again, training camp being weird, he might take a little bit longer too. But the perfect storm is kind of brewing right now. I mean, we saw it with AJ Green last year, or not AJ Green, I'm sorry, AJ Brown. We just talked about AJ Green, but with AJ Brown, we saw it last year, right? Wasn't really that big of a weapon around him. He became kind of that number one wide receiver there. And because they had such an effective run game, he was able to beat people down the field. Now, AJ Brown and Jalen REAGOR are a little bit different, okay? He doesn't really have that size. He's not a monster that AJ Brown is, but they're going to have a really effective run game there. They're going to have a really good offensive line. Carson Wentz, obviously, when healthy and on the field, is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And the wide receivers aren't looking that great right now. Marquise Goodwin, he just opted out for the season. We know Alshon Jeffrey is probably going to start the season on the PUP and may not be back until around midseason. So at that point now, you've got an aging Deshaun Jackson on the other side and a J.J. Arcega-Whiteside who's never really shown anything. But you also got Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert as well to kind of help if they play some more 12 personnel. So they have just enough to kind of keep the pressure off REAGOR, but they don't have enough that he can't get a really large target share and a lot of volume this year. And this is going to be a tough division as well. We just talked about the Redskins a minute ago, potentially having a little bit better offense. Obviously, Dallas is out there as well. Love the New York Giants offense this year. That could be a team that really scores a lot of points. So they might have to be throwing it quite a bit in Philadelphia this year. And if they do, Jalen REAGOR is being set up to see a lot of those targets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, reports are already coming out that he's probably going to be used all over the field. Yep. It would not surprise me. He'll be on the outside. He'll be in the slot. Will not surprise me if he's taking handoffs out of the backfield. I mean, he's going to be all over the field. He has game-breaking speed. He is not reliant on the deep play. He's not reliant on that big touchdown. He's just not. He can make things happen with short to intermediate routes. And that's what's really going to benefit him this year is the volume is going to be there. There's going to be a lot of times maybe where he gets you, 6, 7, 8 receptions for 88 yards. Okay, I'll take that for where you're especially getting him in fantasy football drafts. However, with that next level speed that he has, he can take that 5-yard slant and he can take it 85 yards at any given time. He's just not reliant on the deep ball, so I absolutely love it. We've talked about him for a long time. I mean, top 15 is bold. It's bold, but it's doable. I mean, it would not surprise me if that happened. But yeah, absolutely. A lot of people still don't want to buy into Jalen REAGOR, but soon they will find out, Kyle.
Do it,
soon
people. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we did 2 apiece, so we figured we would do one that we agreed on, that we kind of did together. And I can't go into too much detail because this guy is going to be featured in a video this weekend.
Just a sneak peek. We're just going to open the curtains for you a little bit so you can peep in on us.
Yeah, just a little bit. That sounded awkward. People, hopefully nobody's peeping through my curtains because they don't want to see any of that, Kyle. No. Not happening.
Take this off.
Okay, no. All right, it's Austin Ekeler. All right, so it's Austin Ekeler, and the bold prediction here is that Austin Ekeler outscores Alvin Kamara. And saying immediately, I like Alvin Kamara. I've said that on this show multiple times. I think Alvin Kamara bounces back and has a great year. The bold prediction, though, is that Austin Ekeler outscores him. He was the running back 2 overall with no Melvin Gordon last year. He was the running back 8 overall the rest of the year once Melvin Gordon came back. He had the fewest amount of touches out of every running back in the top 15 and still finished within the top 6. This guy has no respect. Everybody wants to talk about the checkdowns from Phillip Rivers, but that is just a national narrative because people don't go out and watch tape for themselves. Go watch some tape. I've watched a lot of film on Austin Ekeler, and a lot of the passes that he received out of the backfield were designed passing plays to him to get the ball in space. Why? Because the dude can make things happen. I mean, he's got great strength, great balance, his low center of gravity, great hands. He just fits perfectly in that offense. I mean, a lot of people want to point to Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert. Honestly, I don't know if it matters too much. I still think he's going to be heavily involved. Anthony Lynn has proven that he wants to use his running backs, and he likes himself some Austin Ekeler.
That's how I'm feeling over here right now about Austin Ekeler. I mean, he's one guy this year that when we get to the end of the season, people are going to be like, I cannot believe I passed on Austin Ekeler. Absolutely love him. And the thing is, too, is, I hear this a lot of times. People say you can't translate efficiency from year to year, Kyle. I mean, that's an argument that I hear quite often from people. And, if you're just taking 1 year and it's one outlier year of high efficiency and you try to continue to translate that, you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble. But Eckler's been pretty efficient the last couple of years with Melvin Gordon there. And it's not like it's one of those things like maybe like a tight end or a wide receiver where you say, oh, well, because this other guy's on the field at the same time, that's why he's being highly efficient. I mean, these two didn't really play on the field at the same time. They didn't put them both in the backfield quite often. It was really either one or the other. So you can't say that, oh, he was highly efficient because of Melvin Gordon. So that would be my argument against the people that are saying, you can't do that. So lots more touches. Even if the efficiency drops a little bit, he's going to make up for that in volume this year.
Yeah. I mean, people still want to talk about Josh Kelly and Justin Jackson. And yes, I agree. They're going to touch the ball in this offense. Austin Ekeler is not the type of guy that's going to go out and get 300 carries. He's just not going to, he's not a 300 carry guy. However, he doesn't need it because of that efficiency that you talked about. He's going to get more than enough volume. I believe, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe he had like 229 total touches last year. Like I said, lowest out of the top 15. And because of that efficiency, that's why he finished so high. And it's not going to change. He did it with Melvin Gordon. He can do it there with Justin Jackson and Josh Kelly taking snaps also. So not worried about it. Got a lot more information coming on Austin Ekeler, but kind of spicy, saying that he's going to outscore Alvin Kamara, who is a consensus top 4 pick for everybody on planet Earth right now. But those were a few. Said what?
I'm one of the lower ones on Alvin Kamara. So when you said that, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'll buy into that. We can do that.
Yeah, you're not as high on Alvin Kamara. I got him right there at 4, so I think the bounce back is coming. But yeah, Austin Ekeler is. My eyes are big, Kyle. I mean, I'm in fantasy football love. Wow, I'm not going any further than that. All right, so those were 5 bold predictions here, but we want to make this interactive like we always do. So give us some of your bold predictions down in the comment section of this video. Let us know. Make them somewhat attainable, though. Don't just go out there and say something absolutely crazy like Jared Stidham is quarterback 1 this year. I mean, let's make them somewhat attainable, bold predictions here. Leave them down below in the comment section. It would be a lot of fun, and maybe we'll read a few of them off on our next live show and get a good laugh. And heck, maybe we'll see if some of them have some actual validity. And validity may be the biggest word I've said all day, Kyle.
Validity. Validity.
Validity. That's right. All right. Well, hey,
Validity.
hopefully you enjoyed the bold predictions. Make sure you leave that comment down below. Hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy fantasy football and you like to have fun, hit the subscribe button because we are on the road to 100,000 and we're trying to get there as fast as we possibly can. So we need your help. Hook us up. We'll be glad to help you out all year long with your fantasy football needs. But for myself and Kyle, hopefully you guys have a great weekend, a great next week. And we'll talk to you later.